Joe Giglio from the OG, 99.9 The Fan in Raleigh, in studio with us. How are you? Real week one, not that week zero garbage. I hate week zero. There's no such thing as week zero.
I actually thought some of those teams who played in week zero had themselves a little bit of an advantage.
I think
they
do.
It was helpful.
They're like exhibition games.
I'm looking at you, Florida State.
We'll talk about Florida State later. They should have lost the game too, but that's fine. We'll talk about them. We'll talk about them later. All right, so two teams.
That's an easy way to recap week one. They should have lost.
They should have lost. That's very true. There was a lot of that going around, including the game we're about to talk about. NC State didn't lose though. They did win the game. I mentioned it before that I thought East Carolina's defense was really impressive in the second half. But from an NC State perspective, what didn't you like about their offense?
It's very predictable, number one. We saw that at the end of last year, and they had Emeka Emezie last year.
Right.
And I didn't like how they didn't move Emeka around. They just made him basically make plays out on an island. Well, a lot of their offense looks the same to me. And now you don't have that hammer that you had in Emezie. And you're asking a whole lot of a Devin Carter. You're asking a whole lot of a Keon Lassane. You're asking too much of a Michael Allen and a Jordan Houston. I want to see more combination routes, more of a scheme, some different formations. I want to see more Thayer Thomas. I think we're going to see more Demi Sumo going forward.
Gosh. It's going to take me until about October 12th to say his name right.
Yeah, I got no chance at his hyphenated part. I got to check up with Annabelle Myers about that. But I think we had talked to Dave Doran on our program Thursday before their first game, and I said, in so many words, it felt like Sumo was going to be the guy, and Dave had compared Sumo to Matt Days.
That's pretty good.
Which is high praise indeed from Dave Doran. So you saw a little bit of his missability, if you were. My dad hates it when the announcer says that. So,
all right. But he couldn't get it over from the two after an incredible run on that drive, which is the second drive that they had with a goal-to-go situation.
Yeah, he had the incredible run. Then they took him out of the game, even though there was like an 8-minute delay in review.
Well, no, but he was back on the field, and he actually
that sequence was the one where Jordan Houston fumbled.
No, it was the previous one.
Okay.
After that run, got him down. They did. They took him out. There was for some reason there was a review or whatever. There was a delay, and they put him back in the game. I was angered that they took him off the field initially. Like, why is he coming out? Just give him the ball again. And they gave it to him again and again and again and again. And they went nowhere. I think it looked like they ran the same play. Now I'm sure they ran maybe a different play. They've talked about after the game that they ran. We only have so many plays. So I think what he's saying is we only had so many plays installed. How much of that is by design? I don't want
to. A lot of people say Bill Belichick is a genius in football.
Yeah.
And I often say, while Bill Belichick is smart, he looks even smarter by comparison to his peers. And you're certainly welcome to argue with me that college coaches aren't Bill Belichick's peers, but
right.
I often find myself, even in radio, Adam, you've been in radio a long time. You've been successful in radio a long time. So I might say to myself, in this situation, what would Adam Gold do in this situation? And if I'm Dave Doran, I would sit here and say to myself, what would Bill Belichick do in this situation? We've seen Bill Belichick win the Super Bowl when the money's on the table by going to the slot receiver in a timing play with a quarterback, I don't know, that they've worked on countless reps, countless hours in practice, knowing what I know about Thayer Thomas, knowing what I know about Devin Leary.
Right.
I think that's the play. And here's the other part about it, and we can
a little
continue
legal,
on
legal pick play.
Exactly.
Thomas
Give me a
out,
pick, or you go in, I go out. Either way, the imagination needs to improve, and the predictability needs to be less. NC State loves to run the ball on first down, no matter who the offensive coordinator has been. It's a first down run. You got to be less predictable than that. As I love to say, I make a radio's salary. That's what I make for a living. I don't make six figures. I don't want to, I don't want to surprise you right now. I don't want to shock you right now, but I don't even make seven figures like a lot of these coordinators do now.
Right.
I'm going to give them credit, those guys making seven figures, that they can watch tape and figure out what you're going to do.
Right.
And that's where you got to be less predictable, and that's where I would want to see NC State moving forward, because you're at a point now where you can't change the parts. And credit to ECU. Love what Mike Houston did in the portal. A lot of those skill players, they got out of the portal, and they didn't get them from traditional spots either.
Mm-hmm.
That's using your brain and building a little bit better mousetrap. I know how State felt about Demi Sumo in the offseason. That's why they didn't go get a running back out of the portal. They did get one receiver from Maryland. You can't trust anyone from Maryland.
No, I wouldn't.
And
gosh, what a train wreck that place
There
is.
was some skill deficiencies, I thought, on NC State's side that could have been addressed in the portal this offseason that was not. And I thought that was another one where I left my head kind of scratching my head a little bit.
Two things about one about Thayer Thomas, and then one about the predictability. And this has been a pattern for a long time.
Yes.
But let me just get back to Thayer Thomas. Is it fair or just inaccurate that my concern is that if Thayer Thomas is their best wide receiving option, that they probably can't be great offensively? Like, to me, Thayer Thomas is a perfect slot or a second guy, like Hunter Renfrow was at Clemson, but they had other guys.
They had other dudes on the outside, Mike Williams.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they need to get more out of Devin Carter.
Yeah, I totally agree, but I also would like to just see those parts moved around.
Yeah,
the chessboard.
That's the predictability
more.
part.
And that's where I always go back to when I was in school. And Torrey Holt, Mike O'Kane was a master at moving Torrey Holt all around the formation. Everyone in the building knew Torrey Holt was going to get the ball. Everybody.
Yeah.
But yet.
And Corin Robinson after him.
And yet, he still found a way to move those pieces around. And I just, that would be my hope for NC State, because I left Greenville on Saturday thinking, they look like an 8-4 team. They don't look like the ACC champions to me.
They can't. There's no way this. Well, I'm going to stop.
Okay. I'm just giving you my initial reaction. Right. That was my initial reaction.
Now, I said this, I alluded to this earlier. How much of the predictability, and I recognize that there's a pattern, how much of the predictability is we're going to try to win this game without doing too much, and then we've got 2 weeks before next.
Yeah, they got 3 weeks of basic football
but
here.
Texas Tech is going to be at least a challenge because it's a Power 5 team. But how much is really showing no cards going until they get to Clemson?
I would really hope that wasn't the case. I would truly hope that wasn't the case. But you can't put anything past coaches. But I would really, really, really hope that wasn't the case.
Why?
The game was important.
I get it.
And they made.
But you install the plays. You install your game plan.
Full credit to East Carolina's defense in the second half. Flew to the ball, hit people. Mm-hmm. Made sure they knew who was actually pushing whom around in that second half.
Yeah.
Full credit.
Yep.
NC State, though, there was no reason to not kick the field goal on the second goal line situation. And there was no reason to run the same play 4 different times or a variation of the same play 4 times. You have a great tight end in Chris Tootle, a great red zone target in Chris Tootle that I think they had one play that was a bust on that Houston either went the wrong way or didn't move the right way, and they tried to get a pop in the back of the end zone, and that's how ECU scored one of their touchdowns. Again, my dad coached high school football for 25 years. There are only so many 2-point plays.
Right.
I'm not being a jerk. I'm not trying to act like I know everything either. I'm just trying to tell you, if you've ever watched high school football before, if you ever need a 2-point play, you should call a high school coach because they know them.
Right.
But there's 8 of them, maybe.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So, ECU scores on the tight end slip, the second touchdown that they got. I'm sitting here going, hey, you're allowed to do that, right? That's in your playbook too.
Okay.
I'd even take a terrible Tim Beck screen at that point. Like, I was just like,
I'm going to spend 60 seconds here. I agree that the field goal is the smarter play with 10 and a half minutes to go. The field goal is the smarter play. But I'm okay with the maybe egotistical, we're going to show you who we are, aggressive, put the game away with a touchdown. I'm okay with it, but I agree with you that it's the smarter play just to kick the field goal. 2 scores with 10 minutes to go is not. If there were 5 minutes to go, then it's a no-brainer. I think with 10, you can make the argument that the touchdown is a good play.
I didn't like the explanation on Monday, and which was I wanted to show the faith in my offensive line. You're not the offensive line coach. Right. You're the head coach of NC State, and you owe it to your defense, who won the game for you, to say to them, I had as much confidence in you as I did the offensive line, because
but can you spin it that way anyway?
Your ultimate goal is to win the game.
But can't you spin it that way anyway? I had so much faith in my defense that if we don't get it, they ain't going 99 yards on us.
The other way to say it is, if we get to 10 points, there's no way they're scoring twice on us.
Okay.
And I heard the explanation about the analytic chart, and Dave uses a chart that's provided to him by an independent firm, as one of his former coaches actually who started the business. And I don't disagree.
Wait. There's a coach that started a business about the chart?
Yes.
That's a bigger scam than search
Well,
firms.
it's not necessarily it's a book. It's a whole book.
Right.
That they tailor, like 80 of the 120 FBS programs use this service.
So what?
I'm just defending it for a second.
It's a bigger scam than search firms.
It's a booklet, and I remember the first time this ever came up was when they went for 2 in arguably the high water mark of Dave's career. They beat Lamar Jackson.
Why did I think of that?
They beat Lamar Jackson.
Mad.
They beat Lamar Jackson on a Thursday night.
Right.
And at when they were up, I think they were. It was to go up. It would have put them up 12. And I'm like, why wouldn't you just kick it and go up 11? That makes them. And it was like, oh, because the chart says. And I go, okay, now hold on a second. What chart is telling you not to make this 11? And I actually ended up talking to the guy who's the coach. It was this coach at Montana. I think it was Montana.
Fine.
And he said, you build into that chart that you're playing against Lamar Jackson, that he does have the ability to do things that other quarterbacks don't have to do. So it's more of a comprehensive game plan, giving you the odds in each scenario. As he said, the chart says, you go for it inside the 3.
Brian Kelly doesn't have that chart. That's why he tried to kick the extra point after driving 99 yards with no time left in the clock rather than have one play to win the game.
There's going to be so many college football fans who enjoy everything that's coming Brian Kelly's way this year.
Oh, this year. And he's a legitimately good coach. I think he'll be fine at LSU.
He's actually an excellent coach.
Yeah.
But I wonder, kind of like Scott Satterfield at Louisville and the mistake that he made, I kind of wonder if Brian Kelly next year, after it gets really hot there, because they are not a school of patience.
No.
If he doesn't decide, like a Shaka Smart, it's best I find the nearest port in the storm and get out of here.
Well, he'll probably try to do something for his family.
Yes.
All right, so Florida State won. Sort of. I mean, they won. They won.
Yeah.
And that's actually impressive that Florida State didn't lose that game. So I don't want to take any
Well, they blocked
shine.
the extra point too
They
now.
blocked
This
the
isn't
extra point,
like
and they blocked a field goal earlier.
Right.
Right. So I don't want to completely dismiss it. But I don't know how good LSU is.
LSU has talent. They had 2 players get hurt early in that game who probably were more of their talented
You think Florida
players.
State's good?
I went into this season thinking we were underestimating Florida State.
Okay.
I believe in that more now, in part because I think the days of Florida State just committing coaching malpractice are over. I didn't see as many procedural penalties.
Okay.
I didn't see as many dumb offensive line like, hey, if you don't do this, you might just be okay. And I definitely, their defensive line is starting to look like Florida State again.
Well, defensive line and defensive back, they've been good, even while they've been, as a team, they've been bad.
Yeah.
So there have been good pieces there. All right, final thing for Joe Giglio from 99.9 The Fan in Raleigh. The Clemson-Georgia Tech game last night.
Woo.
For about 38 minutes, I thought nothing has changed. Their offense is still trash. They can't block. And then I texted a mutual friend of ours who will give me an honest answer. And I asked him, I said, is Clemson's offensive line still a problem? Or is nobody going to respect DJU's ability to throw the ball? And he responded, yes. So I realized the game was over. But when Cade Kublik came in, it looked a lot different. how many games will this be the situation where it's DJU starting and number 2 coming in late?
I'd be floored if DJ Uiagalelei starts the game against NC State on October 1st. Floored.
It's Kelly Bryant and Trevor Lawrence all over again. It really is, I think, watching a game.
We'll see.
So,
but I think we've seen enough of Uiagalelei to know what he is.
Are you like flaunting the fact that you can say it and I can't?
I am, yes. Because probably the same friend you texted taught me how to say it.
Oh, did he? Very nice. Oh, man. I thank you very much for coming in. I appreciate it, man.
Anytime.
All right.